So here is Eton's first time with the Surcingle. So in knowing Eton, he likes to move around a little bit, and I found that when they're a little uncomfortable, it's okay for them to move their feet. So I'm just working on getting him comfortable, kind of with me being attached to him with an object on his back. Working on getting the girth around. Again, just kind of pulling it over, pushing it over. Letting it touch him. And I really like this Surcingle. It's pretty heavily padded, so it's a good introduction for them to have something around them. Now what I'm having to do is, because he is a little bit broader than Y, I'm having to adjust the girth a little bit. So he got a little bit nervous, which is not a big deal. So anytime I was bending down, he thought that meant that he could go forward, so we had to work on this a little bit. And again, it's kind of okay if it goes back and forth a little bit. It just works on getting them used to it. So now I'm going to put it on. I'm not going to put it on very tight. And this is where he's pretty surprising to me, because he really takes this pretty well and in stride. But again, each horse is very different. So I'm just working on recoiling the rope a little bit. And now I'm going to, because when I put it on, I don't put it on super tight at first, just to get them used to it and let them walk around, and then slowly start to increase the pressure of the girth to where you can make it a little bit more snug. And then I like to let them move around again. And again, he's handling that pretty well. And then just working on getting him to slow down when I go in to make it a little bit more snug. I do think this is a really important step in the first time in girthing a horse, to have it be positive and to slowly do it by increments. I found it helps him a fair bit. And again, asking him to trot, he does not seem to mind at all with having the Surcingle on. He goes both ways pretty well. And pretty free through his body. So now I'm going to increase it and get him to canter and see if that causes anything. Nope. Seems to be pretty good with it. And then asking him to yield. Get a nice lick and chew and give him a minute to think about that. So now I've gone in and added the little boat bumpers, which is funny, 'cause he's actually pretty good about putting it on the right side. And again, he doesn't really seem to mind. They make a nice little jingle sound. And then bouncing around, touching the sides, letting him see something on both sides. So that worked out pretty well. Now I've graduated to the saddle. I'm working with the pad. He gets a little nervous. But at least now he's kind of just graduated to a circle instead of just completely bolting when he gets nervous about something. So starting to get the process of thinking. Now we go to the right side. It's pretty good. So now I've got my trusty Wintech saddle. So this one's pretty light, so I can kind of go up and down, and stand here and carry it for moments like this. So again, when he's nervous, I'm just going to keep on pressing forward until I get it to go on, and then get him to stop. Tell him good boy, then take it off. And now I'm going to reapply. That's good. He takes a deep breath, relaxes, and lets me throw it up there that time. That was pretty good. And what I really like using this saddle because it's pretty light. So for the first couple of sessions, it makes my job a little bit easier, especially if I have to take it on and off, on and off. So working on getting him cinched up a little bit. Now asking him to move. And sometimes they can be perfectly fine with the Surcingle, but adding the saddle is a completely different thing. Dorado is very much that way, but Eton seems to be fine with kind of having that sensation of the saddle on. Now I'm going to go in and tighten it up again and then ask him to move out. Does that pretty well. Again, upping it into the canter. See if I could get a buck. But again, he is pretty good about that. Doesn't seem to mind at all. And asking him to stop, and I get a good lick and chew. So now I'm kind of playing around a little bit with the pressure of putting my knee in the stirrup. I like to do my knee at first because it just gets them used to the sensation and I'm not going to stuck in it. I'm working on tapping it, moving the saddle around. There I picked up the stirrup. That kind of caused him a little bit of a spook. So I'm going to work on doing that some more. And just really trying to make sure I have him prepared. It's just going to be a process. Sticking my knee in again. He's handling that pretty well. Sometimes horses can get nervous when you go to put your foot in the stirrup and you bump their elbow or hit the rib cage, and that can cause them to react. So I like to work on that first. And then I'm just stepping on. He's handling that pretty well. This doesn't hurt him at all. It's just working on it. May pull him to side, but doing it for only brief seconds. And I don't really mind him moving because that means he stays more relaxed. Muscles can't kind of... The worst feeling when you get on a nervous horse is when they stop and stand still and all those muscles are really super tight and you're just waiting for the explosion. So getting him to walk, getting him to work it out is a much better feeling. And there he did really good. I in fact wasn't expecting this to happen today, but it seemed to be in a good place. And I didn't quite want to swing my leg over, so I just wanted to put the weight on his back. That was very good. And every time I do it, I kind of try to take a break, walk back to the center, give him a chance to lick and chew, give him a chance to think about it. And I was really happy with that with the saddle, so I decided to take the saddle off. Again, sometimes they can be more afraid of the saddle coming off than it going on. But he handled that pretty well. And then I'm going to go back and popping back on him bareback again. kind of like what I did with Y. And there he gives me a couple of really good walk steps with me on. That was really, really good. And just kind of keep repeating. Again, that was a really good one as well. And then pull him back to the center, and then go and pop back on. There, he got a little nervous. I'm not sure what it was from, if it was from my leg or if he saw that little blue thing out of his eye, but I decided to pop back off, and then I'm going to jump right back on. And I've just found that just getting to monkey around on them gets them relaxed with me, kind of in their space and touching their body. But everything with Eton, he makes me work for every single inch. So I had a really good spot right there, and that's where I decided to quit. I was really happy with that. So then we went back home, and I had Amanda Moritz, who is my body worker, came and was able to do some body work on the boys. So she's working on Y right now, and I think it's really important to have the body work done on them. It really helps them release a lot of the tension and stuff that they've been through a lot, and getting their bodies to relax. You can see Y is licking and chewing. He had a little bit of a spot kind of right at the sacrum that he was releasing, where he was a little stuck. And he seemed to enjoy his session. And here you can see a little bit more licking and chewing. And she felt pretty comfortable. Amanda does a really good job of being sensitive to their energies, and also I want to make sure that she's safe. And you can see Y is doing a good job. And now on to Eton. Eton was actually really good for her as well. He had a bit of a stuck shoulder, so you'll see here he's kind of working through it with the lick and chew. And when they really release, they sometimes you can see the double eye roll and the tongue coming out, and there he gives a little paw because he's just a little, sometimes they go through it when they're a little stuck. And then he's starting to release, dropping his head and neck. And that's another good one. Just trying to get his body to relax because he's been such a tense guy. So I know it's a little bit of a relief to start to feel all that stuff let go. And here's another big release. You can just start to see his expression starting to change a little bit. And then he changes back to alert Eton when he sees something a little different. But he comes right back. And he gives a little lick and chew. And he had a good session. So overall, really happy with the boys' progression.